has a few people. It should be enough. Good. Okay.
Okay, so we good to continue? Okay, so basically we did what you asked. We went back, looked at the budget, trimmed a couple areas specifically in the software, and then the other major thing was to move a lot of the technology that wasn't already suggested for non-lapsing into the non-lapsing, reducing the budget further. So we did get it down by those changes to 5.26% increase. So that's where we're at.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
I'm looking at the financial statement for the non-lapsing. We don't have $143,000.
No, you don't.
So how are we gonna do that?
What I'm counting on is that we free up the laptop money from there. That's, I think it's $38,000 designated. And then if you add that, now I think we're pretty much there. I also think we may be able to free up a little bit of the negotiations money and the interactive whiteboard money.
The negotiations money from where? The teacher contract negotiations?
Yes,
All right, so are you saying we don't need those teacher laptops anymore?
I'm saying we just purchased, I'm going to tell you that we just purchased some, and I think we purchased enough to get through next year.
You purchased them from the current operating?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So are you suggesting at this point to white out the 38,400?
I think we could do that, but I think that requires a Board of Ed vote, I believe.
Well,
But yes,
we just approved it. I mean, if we don't spend it, we don't spend it.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can move it back into the uncommitted.
So the 38,500 goes back to the operating budget.
Yep.
And those were purchased.
Yes,
Okay.
enough were purchased to get us through next year.
So, and then the negotiation line. We've got about 29,500 left on that line item.
Yes,
Is that correct?
yeah. But we just paid a bill of 17,000 out of it. So that the one you're looking at isn't completely updated, but we will have a completely updated one at the second meeting of the month.
We're presenting next week, so I got.
Right, yes. Yeah, yeah.
So, so 38,500 and about 12,000 left in negotiation line, is that correct, Kathy? And then what was the other line item?
This interactive whiteboards or smart boards. I think it's like 9,000 or up higher, I think.
Technologies, oh, there they are.
There they are, yeah.
So about 91.
Yeah.
42, we don't need that anymore either. And those were
Correct.
purchased in the operating budget.
3 of them were, yes. And that's why I'm suggesting another 7 out of your non-lapsing, because
Okay.
the plan was to do 10
But
per
the
year.
9142 is a pretty solid number
pretty-
coming back to us.
Yes.
roughly. Okay.
Yeah, so when
So
you,
about 59,000
yeah,
back onto the 103.
Yep.
162, so if we put 143 into the non-lapsing, that leaves us about 19K.
yeah, right.
And if we look at what we brought over, again, from fiscal year last year was 234,000. So our commitment to the town was that the reason we did that was to cover cyber. Sorry,
Can you just repeat the amount for the teacher contract negotiations?
12,000.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Troy. I understand that now. So if we do 143 in non-lapsing, what is, that leaves how much in new equipment? 20,000? All right.
Yeah, and that's just to cover if we need another laptop or a whiteboard dies in the middle of the year, we've got to replace it. So it's hard to not budget something in the line.
I'm sorry. Could we run through that again a little slower? Okay, so
Do you want me to say it or do you want to?
well, I was just looking back in my notes. I have 184 in the non-lapsing. Is that correct or no? Okay. That was an old
I'm
number.
looking at the March 1st statement.
Okay.
Do you want me to go through those numbers though with you again?
Yeah, I don't know if I have the March. Yeah, I don't have that.
We got him last time. No, we didn't. He was in- Oh, okay. So when did I?
Okay.
I'm sorry. When did I get the March 1 non-lapsing? When I stopped by the office? Okay.
Ah, that explains it.
All right. So, well, there we go. That we haven't gone through them officially, but we need to
That's
know. I think if we haven't gone through it officially, we all need to kind of know what that number is.
Yeah, we could send an updated non-lapsing out to you
You need to email that to the
like
board, definitely.
tomorrow.
Yeah. Could you do that? I think it's.
Wow, better yet.
Everybody has that.
Yeah.
I apologize. I thought everybody had that.
I was trying to keep up. Yeah.
I couldn't find mine.
We're just making sure you paid attention and you were. Nice
Yes,
job.
we're definitely trying. Can I just make a comment before we even start with this? I'm always going to be of this mindset. We promised supporting Chromebooks. We made a policy that enforces our Chromebooks, and I don't like pulling it out of the budget. It should be in as a line item in our budget. If that's the case, if we don't want to do that, then, and we don't want to have I feel like the policy needs to back our budget and so forth.
And Jamie, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%, but we also have to get a budget to the town. And in years past, unfortunately, there's only certain things that can move, right? And hard items are like technology always seems to be the line we have to hit first. I agree with you 100%, but I also know that if we went forward with the 6 or 7 that we
6.65%.
that we initially presented, all it's going to do is spin our wheels and turn us back around to getting back to this point.
Sure. I think though, maybe we're not at, I lost my number, 5 point something, 26, but maybe by putting some things that really mean, that say that we mean business about this technology and the Chromebooks, it's not going to bump it up back to the 6.6. It's going to bump it up a little bit, but I just on principle do not feel like we should be setting policies for things that are not in our budget.
Any other comments? I just turned it off. Oh, sorry.
I was in my head hoping to be around 5.5, and if putting Chromebooks back into, and if putting those teacher laptops are one of the things that I really am concerned about, honestly, because I felt like it was something that was very clearly stated to us that was a big deal. Right, but it's an ongoing thing. This is not we purchased the teacher laptops and yay, everybody's great. It's we purchased the ones that were 15 years old, and now we're supposed to purchase one that are 12 years old. And if we don't, then by the time we end up getting to it, they're going to be 15 years old as well. And I guess if putting the teacher laptops back in brings us up to 5.4 or 5.5, I'm totally okay with that move.
We will need more teacher laptops the following year. So it would be kicking the can down the road a little bit by not budgeting for any in the budget. But we did purchase all that we'll need for next school year already with this budget and the ones we purchased end of the year.
But I would rather do half next year and half the following year instead of none next year. Then we're back here in the same spot that following year. I guess that's always my concern, is that I feel like our goal was to plan out, similar to, as we were doing the capital plan within the town and things like that. Like the goal is to look forward and figure out where we can get to and have a consistent plan to get there. I guess I would like to see that. But
You said you already bought this year's laptops. This current fiscal year that we're in, you bought those?
For the current fiscal year,
Yes.
we've purchased the laptops we need, and we did purchase the laptops that we'll need for next year.
Okay. And then I remember a big discussion about staggering them. So and I believe it was your discussion. So you said that you didn't want to buy, we had talked about spacing them out like 6 months. So if we already bought the ones that we need for next year and we're going to buy more, then aren't we changing the whole schedule of the replacement and doing what you didn't want to do in the beginning was buying a whole bunch that would have to be replaced at the same time down the line?
I guess I'm confused. I thought, so we bought all of the ones that were in the plan to buy next year?
Yes. I did
we're gonna
that.
get one
I
teacher's
I
laptop.
misunderstood then. I thought that what had happened was some of the teacher laptops had come out of operating, or the Chromebooks had come out of operating instead of out of,
The Chromebooks, those are for the students.
so Chromebooks for the students came out
Chromebooks
of
for the teachers,
operating.
Or say laptops, we're talking about the teacher laptops.
But we have teacher laptops bought out for 2 years.
We're good for this year
Based
and
on our
all
tech-
next year with what we've
Based on our
purchased.
technology plan that we were
Yes.
presented with, all of the ones that were said that we needed in the next 2 years have been purchased already.
For this year and next year. But for the following year,
For 26.
fiscal year 28, you're going to need to purchase
Right.
some.
But this, so when you say Chromebooks, that's just the students.
Yes.
And so you don't have enough for students next year.
I would, if you buy those out of your non-lapsing, I will.
Right. But if,
No, I don't right now.
okay.
We have to purchase those
Right.
for $69,000.
And our
Right.
expectation is that we're going to continue purchasing those moving forward because
Annually.
each year we're going to put in a new set.
Yes, a new set in grade 5, a new
Which,
set in grade
if
9,
our-
and 30 new ones for K through 4.
Which if our non-lapsing is down to 19,000, we don't have the
So
funds.
you have to, you're kicking the can down the road. You
Right.
have to put it in the budget next year. Now, hopefully, the budget next year will be even easier than this year.
Totally feels like that happens, doesn't it?
I just, the problem that we're going to have going forward, whether, and I get the principle of it. I'm not disagreeing with you. And I would love to be able to have a robust, regular line item for IT, which we never get, right? The problem we're going to have is if we go back to the $234,000 non-lapsing deposit that we put in this year, that we initially said we were going to send back to the town because it was grant discovery and we ended up having excess. And then we said, no, we had this cyber event. We're going to need that. We need to shore it up, use it. And now we're going to sit on it. That's not going to be a good look for us. It's
See,
not.
But I
it's
guess we're not sitting on it though, because we used most of it for the cyber incident. Like otherwise we had more in non-lapsing before. It's not like what we're looking at right now in the number in non-lapsing is greater than what we would have had if we had given that money back to the town because
Well, we
were
got
gonna take-
100,000 back into our budget. So actually out of the 234, we spent about, if I do really raw numbers, about 100 and some. Because we got 100,000 back and it went into our operating budget.
Okay, and we're looking
And then
at.
we bought
if we
laptops
take
and
out the
things like that
Chromebooks-
with
If we
it.
take out the Chromebooks from this, then we're doing another 84,000 on top of that. Right? Because we're
Mhm.
taking 84,000 out of these expenses. If we kept that 69, then we end up at 80,000 or 90,000 in non-lapsing. 88,000, right? We would have ended up with less than that. I don't believe
So
so.
I guess I guess we need to,
234 was not counting the fact that some of that was coming back to us in the first place. It was like 100. Am I misremembering this? My understanding was we had a certain amount that we were taking, like we had 234 left at the end of the year.
Right.
We were
Mhm.
going to keep,
like 38.
it was more than 38,000,
Do you remember, Kathy, how much it was?
but it was, we were giving like 100 and something back to the town and keep. So
Yeah,
again,
yeah, yeah.
like we're not talking about 234 that we took back for the cyber incident. We're talking about
Right.
150, right? Or 160 that we took back to take care of the
Yeah,
cyber
yeah,
incident.
Yeah.
And then we spent 100 and something to take care of the cyber. So we don't have this huge discrepancy of $200,000 that we took back from the town and didn't spend in the way we said we were going to. What we have is maybe 30 grand. Correct?
Well, not if you're not counting the 100,000 that we got from insurance then. Right.
But didn't that help
So
offset?
I think, so we need to take a step back. Okay, we can, do the research on the numbers, figure out exactly what the dollar amount is, everything else. We need to, as a consensus, as a board, figure out what are we comfortable moving forward with? Because we certainly could take a look at putting all of this back in and saying, this is our budget, this is what it is. Hey, this is our budget. We will be here in 2 weeks doing the exact thing that we are doing right now. I can guarantee it. And I get the principle of it. But I also know that we aren't only talking to taxpayers that have children in the school system, but we have taxpayers that do not have children in the school system. And our budget is about 64 to 67% of the town's budget and the town's expense. So somehow we got to do our best effort to say we can fund some of the stuff. Is it ideal? Absolutely not ideal, but it's, unless you guys want to move forward this way as a consensus and say, and
I'm just saying, I think the number is too much for me.
I think I agree with Christine though, with whether we're at 5.2 or 5.5, if we're lucky, the Board of Finance is going to say 4.
And they're going to say, you have money in your non-lapsing account, go back and spend it. They are going to say
Right.
that.
Any balance in the
100%.
non-lapsing account, they're going to kick it back.
So
Is there any way we could just put that 69,000 back? What does that look
It
like?
brings us to 5.69% if we put all that $69,000 back.
So let's split it.
And that's,
I would split that. I think we split that. Put half of that 69 back in. Again, I don't want to lose track of the fact that our job on the Board of Education is to advocate to support education as well as we can. And if having this technology budget, which I think the presentation of it, the process of it was correct. And I think that supporting it matters. And if we're going to advocate for education, then, which is our role, then I don't think we can take it all out.
I don't think we're not advocating for it. I think we're using our non-lapsing to the best of our ability to make sure that it's fully funded moving forward. I understand that next year it's going to have to go back into the budget. But the way that this year is looking and with the way all of the numbers between the town and between us are looking, we're advocating for it by spending down our non-lapsing.
I guess I'll bring up the next point is that we really need to support the music and the drama. And if we go down to 19,000 and then they ask us to cut more there, we are not supporting music. We don't have money to do that. And this is another year that we don't have this program. And so it's not that we're not spending it down. We have needs that aren't even addressed on here.
If you added half of the Chromebooks back to the budget, it would bring it to 5.47% increase. So you'd be adding $34,500 back, and it brings you to 5.47. Because we're at 5.26 as we brought you the budget tonight. Adding all the Chromebooks back bring you to 5.69. Half brings you to 5.47.
So 30K to the IT line, to the new equipment line. It's bringing that up from 20 to 50.
20 to, if you do half the Chromebooks, it would be 54.5.
I guess that would leave us with $50,000 that we can at least consider the beginnings of improving lighting or figuring out what to do on the stage. Because I think if we're at 19,000, most of the board isn't going to feel comfortable even spending 10 grand on that to bring it down to 9,000 and that. So
5.47 half by 5.69 all. And I think, and I mean this in the utmost respectful way, the money that it leaves over gives us room in a week when we're going to have to come back and adjust our numbers to get a budget that the Board of Finance is going to approve.
And I guess I would just continue to say that that's not what we're supposed to be doing with our non-lapsing
Right.
account.
Then find other cuts in the budget. Straight out cuts.
And I'm willing to have that conversation when we reach that spot, but at the moment, I guess I would advocate for the 5.47.
I don't like it, but I'd be happy with that.
I would agree that a 5.47 with the understanding that we are going to be back here in a week rediscussing this.
But do you think getting it down to 5.2, I think they're still going to come back to us. Like, I don't think it matters. Like, and I want to support the school.
I agree.
You're going to cut it anyway.
I understand that, but when you go in there and say, but we're leaving money in our non-lapsing, they're going to look at us and think that we didn't do our absolute best to
But
to
we're not
do our
leaving.
best budget
We're
forward.
talking about
No.
other needs that we have. If we were to sit there going, hey, you know what we need is just a $50,000 cushion and we have no plans and no aspect to that whatsoever, then I would agree. But I think that if we're able to articulate and say, hey, listen, we have some serious needs that have been brought to our attention and we'd like to be able to use the non-lapsing, but we also understand that we're trying to mitigate the budget. I feel like that is good stewardship of what we're doing.
We're about to talk about stage lighting project, and I have here some quote information that we'll be talking about in the next agenda item. And this is not in our budget. And
it shouldn't be a line item budget because it bumps up our bottom line budget for
Right.
next year.
Well, that's a good point. Maybe it's a capital project.
It might be a capital item. And
The other
I
thing is
could-
the board has not had a full discussion on that. I fully love drama and music and we need to support it, but we have not had that department come forward and ask for that yet. You've mentioned it
Mhm.
at the last meeting.
Yep.
It was not brought to us at budget time. It
It
wasn't
was
brought to us in our budget. It's definitely a time for us to discuss it and start entertaining it. And I'm excited to hear what Matt has to say about it. But I don't think we're at a point to say at budget presentation in a week
Agreed.
that
We
we
can't add it to the
need
budget, no.
stage lighting
Yeah.
and this is what we're holding out the money for. We haven't agreed as a board to do that yet. We're just in the infancy of even having that discussion. The first we heard of it was.
But they're also, that is the type of thing that non-lapsing exists for. Even if we're not going to talk specifically about the lighting one as the thing that we have, like that's why we have a non-lapsing account, is for those types of things that don't increase. We don't want to inflate the budget one year to be able to add a project like that. That's what this is supposed to exist for. It's what we used the teacher negotiation line in non-lapsing for this past time, was to not artificially inflate like these. In the long run, it actually works out better for the town in terms of MBR and other things. It's what we're supposed to be doing on that. I don't know.
I understand that and I agree 100% that would be in the perfect world, how it was working. But when we're coming forward with budget increases of 5, 6, 4.5%, we have to look at the reality of that as well. So, I mean, if somebody wants to make a motion at whatever number they want to make a motion at, we can continue discussion or take a vote.
I would make a motion to accept a superintendent's budget at 5.47% increase and make it the Board of Ed's budget.
Second.
Other discussion. Do you want to share? Amy was unable to be here tonight, but she had a couple of feelings that she did want to have shared. And it's unfortunate she's not here because I think she would be opposed as well. She was a little concerned about, I don't want to read verbatim. I guess I'm just trying to. Would like to know the expenditures spent on and will continue to spend for NEASC purposes. Our budget should not be more than 60% of municipal or we're in fiscally unsustainable territory as budget stands. We need to be more creative overall. If theater needs lighting, have a business class help create fundraisers. There's a lot of nice to have spending. Tech spending is out of control. Feel free to share my thoughts. So not, we just have to take into account, it's unfortunate she's not here, but I just wanted to share her opinion on that as well. We're still getting insurance money on the Chromebooks, is that correct? That was one of my questions. Are we still charging that? So about 66.48? Is that right?
Yeah, that's probably about right.
Okay,
At the beginning of the year, we collect that from families.
okay. All right. Let's see. And then my only question is, my note on technology was that it was at 106 and that you're
Yeah.
proposing 143. So did that increase further?
No, the 106 did not include the infrastructure for 42,000 because I had that on my slide I was suggesting you use non-lapsing for that right away. I never put that in my budget,
Okay,
but I said that we're so close to being completely updated with the infrastructure, might as well just finish it. And I suggested just doing it and you won't have to budget for it for several more years. So it makes sense to spend non-lapsing and it wouldn't be in the budget.
all right. So that was bringing the full infrastructure up and that wasn't in the initial budget. So that changes the 106 to the 143.
I think so, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion on the current, is there any questions on any other parts of the budget? Kathy, did you want to talk about software a little bit? Can we hear a little bit about
Yeah,
that before we
software.
just approve this budget?
We went back and took a look at each individual item in the software line, I think, and we're able to cut about 21,000. We were able to think outside of the box and get some different software products. But also we recognized that there were a couple of duplicates in there that we had in another line. So in total, I think we dropped at $21,000, 242 to 221.
All right, thanks.
I don't know if it's out of place for me to say something as the business manager, but hearing you say that technology, you didn't say it, but you were reading that technology spending was out of control. I have to say, as the business manager, as a taxpayer in this town, I kind of look at the cyber incident as awful, but at the same time, it forced us to get our house in order. And we were kicking the can down the road for years. And we're almost there. We've almost got the infrastructure in place to be current, to be up to date, to be new and inventive. And I would really hate to see us just at the last minute go, no, we're not going to do that. Because as bad as this cyber incident was, it forced us to upgrade our systems. And we needed that for many, many years, folks. So that's my 2 cents.
No, thank you. And that was just one board member's.
No, I
take on
understand.
that.
I
Okay.
get it.
Can you explain why the transportation line went up from the first budget to the second?
Which number are you on the?
Yes, I can.
The total for transportation, actually, it's 197. 197 went up some.
And
And
it
the
went
line went up $10,000. But I'm
Yes.
curious why
Yep.
the increase from.
because there's a 4% increase. So I used the forecast from the year that we're in and upgrade and upped it 4%. What I didn't realize was at midterms in December and also in May, we have to pay extra for buses to take the kids home early, and it costs a boatload of money. It's like another $5,000, $6,000. So I had to add that back and adjust my numbers.
Thank you. All right. And just for my clarification, when we're talking about this next week, when you say the fiscal year forecast as of 1/31/26, that's still the forecast to the end of the year, though.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Just because I don't have the presentation from previously, what is the percentage for the contractual agreements that we have? So out of that 5.47, contractually is
131,000.
No, what's the
is
percentage?
for
That I can't get.
Yeah.
Yeah, what
The
percentage of the
831,000,
increase?
what
What percentage of our increase is that?
Oh,
You had talked about, you
Yeah.
did the presentation with the 831 and I don't remember the
Because I
percentage.
think
Well, but the
it's
percentage
super-
is going to be different now because
Yeah,
we've
we're a
lowered the
little bit-
overall.
Right. I think
um,
it's super important to really
I
hone in
mean,
on that,
we-
especially with the Board of Finance, because those are things that we're obligated to do.
we
and-
had said that salaries and benefits were 81.6% of the budget. But
Right.
I'm trying to think if you, let's see, I had a increased line. Okay, so salaries, yeah.
It's 220.
It went up $493, $493,407.
Mhm.
Which represents a 4.72% increase of salaries. Okay,
Oh,
that's not
can
increase
we-
of the budget. That's just increase of
Can we
salaries.
figure out what that increases of the budget?
Yeah, sure.
Because I think it's important for us to put that in perspective,
Okay.
that what we're actually increasing of
Yeah, I
the
think so
budget that we
too.
have control over is
Four-
very small,
Right.
very,
93.
very small. And when we talk
407.
about technology is very expensive.
Okay.
And we do not put enough money into our technology for our students. We hear it from the teachers, we hear it from the kids. Chromebooks are not working. And that's not
So-
even cybersecurity.
3.07% of our budget increase is due to salary increases.
Say that again?
3.07
Just salary and benefits.
is just salary increases.
Oh,
I didn't do, I could do it
benefit.
together. You want me to do it
yeah,
together?
please.
Okay.
As I
493,
say, I thought it was higher than that.
407 plus 237 equals that divided by the budget. 16, 56, yeah, 56, 441, times 100. Okay, so 4.55% of the budget increase is salaries and benefits.
4 point what?
4.55.
So
Thank you.
1% then is what we actually have control over right now. I strongly feel that
Yeah,
Board of Finance comes back, we're talking 1% that we actually have control over.
Okay, so the argument's not going to be you have control over 1%. You have control over almost 100% of your budget. So it's I get what you're
With
saying.
the contracts.
Well, if you take the contracts out though, what else is it? We have other line
Right,
items.
which is-
1% of the
Travel service,
increase. I
Right,
get that,
yeah.
but out of 17 million to 16,900, we have control over
We
a
are
percent.
obligated.
Right, we're not obligated to 16,900, right? So that's what I just know, having had this discussion with them in the past, they're gonna come back and
I
say,
Yeah.
your budget isn't a 5% increase, your budget is 16.9 million. So you have control over that whole thing other than the contractual piece. So but I agree with you. Our increase is based very heavily on salaries and benefits and always is. But that's why we have to do the deep dive into the other line items that we might have some little bit of control. And I don't want you guys to think I'm not on your page. I totally am. I think it's because I'm the one that's got to stand up there and go to slaughter next week. So that's why I'm like, is there any way around that, you know?
I think when you stand up there and go to slaughter, everybody on this board should be there, sitting there with you, supporting the budget.
So what's the final number that we're at? Because we need 5 point.
That's what you made the motion for, right?
oh,
And did you put a dollar amount on it with the motion, or should we just use the increase, the percentage increase?
it should probably put a dollar amount.
Usually we put like a dollar
I would put a
amount to
dollar
move it
amount.
forward.
All right, so you're adding 34.5, right, to the
Mhm.
number? Because that's half the Chromebooks, is that what we?
Yeah.
I would like to amend my motion, I would like to make a motion to accept a budget.
We already have a motion.
So you just have to
Yeah,
amend
I
it.
can make it on it.
Oh.
I'm just making a second motion on top of the motion. I would make a motion to state the total budget at 16,959,000 $347.
Thank you. for doing
I
that.
second.
I think I'm Kathy. Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's right then. That's, no one needs to check.
You added 34.5, right?
Oh, wait.
We were supposed to add 34.5.
Oh, 34.
So, yeah.
Yes.
So,
All right, never mind what I just said.
I would like to make a motion. You know what? I would like to rescind my prior motions. And I would like to make a motion to accept a budget and making it the Board of Ed's budget as presented by the superintendent and amended by the Board of Ed for $16,939,347 or 4.47%. 5.47%.
I
Do I hear six?
second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Okay. Motion carries.
Can I vote?
Nope.
No.
No.
Man, it's my last year.
Denied.
All right. So what we need to do is, our meeting's next week at 7:00. And if you guys can make it, that would be fantastic.
Sorry, Christine, can you say that again?
It's next week at 7:00.
On Wednesday.
Yes. The 18th.
Yep.
And I think we should send this budget piece, just this, over to them.
Just that chart
Yep, yeah,
ahead of time.
yes, with the updated numbers.
Yep.
Because it's public
that.
knowledge now.
I would send it. Yeah. public knowledge.
Send it only to, send it to the chair and then he can distribute. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. And then we'll work on the presentation. Is there anything you
Yep.
guys want to see in the presentation specifically for discussion?
I mean, I know it doesn't typically actually make an impact, but I would like to make sure that our tuition revenue number
Yep.
is prominently thrown in there.
Yes, and I think I already ran those numbers today next to what the government operating budget and it is and everything, because I don't want it to look like the budget ask that we have is that percentage they're talking about. Actually, if we look at, where's my notes on that? The ECS of 2,660,307 and the tuition at 527,505. That brings our number down significantly. That brings us down to about 13,750 roughly, not the 16,9 something. So I think when we're talking about what percentage is our budget versus the town budget, we need to be focusing on that number because those other numbers offset our actual budget. So I definitely will be hitting on that. I was thinking about pulling out the prior. We usually show the budget and the prior increases. I don't think that has much effect, so I think we should be pulling that out. Anything else?
I agree with Laura. I think talking about really having that percentage of what is contractual,
Okay,
I think that's really important.
okay. Yep. And I have that on here too, the percentage increase of salaries and benefits.
I think we don't want to present it as we don't have control over that. But that if we go beyond that 1% that we can, or if we go beyond kind of certain levels, that what we're going to have to dip into are salaries, because those FTEs, like it's hard because if where do we cut? And I think that's got to be the message, is not like, oh, we only have control over this piece, but rather that this is the piece that we can really work with before things start having to look worse on our educational outlook.
Is the 1%.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Any other discussion? All right, I'll do my very best. So we'll go from there. All right. Mr. Matt.
I'm sure you're excited to follow that up.
At least everyone's in a good mood.
I was gonna say, call me Sisyphus, pretty much rolling that big rock up this giant downhill mountain from here. We'll see what I can do. Little bit of history of the lights. We'll kind of go back for a second. So this is technically my second year as the CTE teacher for tech ed, but I was a substitute during my student teaching. So 3 years ago now. And so I was asked to help with the lights. I've been here all through K through 12. I was under with Christine way back when as well. So I've been here for a long time, a part of it. So it's good to definitely be back. And I like seeing how much we've grown. That's for sure. And seeing what needs to be changed, or it's nice to see what can be done or what I can do now, seeing what it was before to move on. So we did a show of Little Mermaid when I was still here. And the lights were fine for the most part. I've learned now there's a reason why we've always had them at like 70% maximum. That's for sure, that we don't go any higher for sure. I always just thought it was because the lights were so hot because of just their big bulbs, but I didn't realize it was more of a power issue. I learned that kind of the harder way of when I took over the following year. We did a Clue. We were able to get special lights that we just kind of jerry rigged. Really, we had 3 of them zip tied to the main beam and 4 on like the gym floor, and we just flashed them because it was like a dark theater and like a haunted mansion. You know, all the lights were dimmed, so I didn't realize how good that was in the long run. That was the year, if we all remember, is when we had that really big bad storm that we had to move our graduation indoors for the first time in 15 to a long time. And so because from there, I was like, all right, I'll help turn the lights on, make it all look nice and pretty and formal. So we turned them on, nothing worry. And then, I don't know, an hour and a half through the ceremony, maybe an hour and 15, that back row or the back row or the middle row, the same row that we have problems with now, just completely shut out. Did not know why. Think it was just a random error. It happens, but I was a little afraid of God knows what else could happen if that stayed on. So then quickly as the ceremony progressed, I just snuck in the backstage. I turned off all the lights and we called it. The ceremony continued. No one knew of it. Thank goodness the main gym lights were also on, so no one saw it as an issue. We then took over for the following year after that. And so I realized that there's clearly an issue happening with these lights. And I'm no electrician. I'm not allowed to go up on a scissor lift to check to see if there's okay. And Randy has a hard time because there is no ramp on the stage either. We have that extra pull-out one, but it's very hard to operate those lights. Those lights don't come down. So finding the issues is also harder said than done. So I then moved to let's not do the stage on the lights. Let's kind of minimize it, be responsible that way for safety and whatnot. Let's move or do a dinner theater instead. Put in the comments. It was really nice. We had a different outlook. It was a clever idea. We got by. The stage for both the band and chorus seemed fine. I wasn't the one in charge of the lighting, I don't think, or we just had the lights dimmed, but I didn't realize that there was a special fan that gets blown on the giant breaker box to keep it cooled off. I just thought it was just there for storage because we always store extra stuff on that stage for extra things. Didn't realize that there was a safety issue or a jerry rigging of why we had to do that. I learned that out the hard way during our first year choir teacher. So I felt bad that I ruined more or less her show because, again, midway through, I was in charge of the sound and the lighting, and all of a sudden that back row turned off. I tried restarting the system midway through the concert, could not get it to turn on. So we just had to resort to just turning it on the old-fashioned way. We didn't know that until more than halfway through the show, that we just could not save that part of the stage. So we kind of had to just change things up as we went. After doing some numbers and work with Randy, at first I thought maybe it's just they need to be cleaned, let's say. So I did a debrief a couple weeks back and took a blower, pulled all the old things out and looked at it. Had a meeting with Randy to see if anything he knew about it and what could be done for those lights. And so he did some digging. He called in a couple of people. I didn't realize that they don't make that circuit breaker or light system anymore, which was fun to know. And I want to say even when the school was being renovated, I know some of the aspects of the stage was touched. Like they got rid of the ramp and they put in a wheelchair lift and then gym stairs on the side so you can cross through. We changed that up, but the lights itself I know wasn't touched. I know that they got new curtains that one year, which was nice. The lights were never touched to my knowledge of. And so now we come back to see what we can do. Randy discovered that amount of power that's being drawn is about 27,000 watts of power that is pulled. Normal LED lights only take 6,000. So even just running the lights, it's 4 times more expensive both power wise and just electricity that's being drawn out. Luckily, we only use it an hour and a half during every other, hopefully less than every other month to pull from it. So we try to get by with what we can, but we're at a point where we're just really trying to jerry rig a system to make it work. I can only do so much. Also, we can add a whole bunch of, $10 LED lights, run it, find an iPad, run it, and run a whole bunch of cords and make it work for a couple of years. Obviously, I'm not asking for money now. That's a whole bigger project. And we know this is going to take many, many years, sadly, to go for this. So we're starting the conversation now, but knowing that we need at least to find, sadly, a temporary solution so we can have decent concerts. I know I have a grant that I asked for the Education Foundation regarding audio, so we could actually get the proper audio to work. So that should be good. So at least people will hear everybody. Seeing them, we can at least sadly just put the regular work lights on and go from there. That's the other thing. For some reason, the house lights, the gym lights, for some reason, they used to be able to dim and have lights. They don't anymore. We found that out the hard way after one of the rec shows in November. One of them turned on, the rest of them didn't. So we had to quickly then go, all right, it's just all on or all off suddenly. I can't dim them. I can't make it easy for people to walk through. It's just, sorry, here it is. So there's been a lot of jerry rigging to what we can try to do. I do the best that I can. Randy has worked very hard to try to see what, quick fixes can we do and what can be done. I know for our concert, for this district one, the band is going to be just on the stage. I believe the risers are going to be right in front. Everything's going to be turned on. At least you'll be able to hear them because because we were able to raise a little bit of money from the music boosters. They found an extra $200 to get condenser microphones, which I didn't know that we needed. So good thing that we found them and had them. So we should be fine there, but it is what it is. And so I know I know it's hard to get the money and find what we can do, but having this conversation and trying to find ways of what can we do to make it work, even temporarily, we'll do what we can. I know even for the elementary school, they have a lot of wires, and I know Chad, other people have just gotten on ladders and just put stuff together, which in theory I could too, right? And just do it, but God forbid I fall, right? That's more money that we don't have. I know, right? No. Well, sorry. I did it. Let's say that. But the idea, though, is if we don't have proper ways of even just setting up even temporary fixes and an accident even happens, that's a whole other issue that I don't even want to even consider of what we'll go through. So finding what ways we can do just to help us and putting all of our minds together. I don't have all the answers, but I'd love to have those conversations and just see what could be done. And I know Randy has met with at least several different companies to see what can we do to find certain alternatives, or again, of who can we talk to that maybe we have outside knowledge from the town itself that might be able to help us, or donating equipment, or finding ways of pooling other money in, or doing more fundraisers. I can only, from the haunted houses and small stuff, I can raise at least, if I didn't do a show and only raised money and do small events, I can maybe get 3,000 to 4,000, which is wonderful and that helpful. But if we're looking at that board over there and that's 120,000, well, that'll take me 30 years. By the time I get the money, then that side's already obsolete. So just about this, again, like we said, working together to find it. I know it's a long process. We know that we can't get everything done in a day or so, or in a week when we have this meeting. So just keeping the conversation open and trying to see what we can do, either as a school, if we have to be bigger and it's a full town thing. I don't know, because in a school district and it's not like a town auditorium, it's a very different way of working with things, and a whole different kind of legal system kind of comes into play. But just trying to think of more ideas of what we can do to kind of work together with it. So publicly, I'm always open for ideas on what we can do from there. But any questions, let me know. Kristen, know, Randy, know, we're the kind of ones that are trying to do our best to see what we can do. Yeah, thank you.
Is it possible to rent any lighting systems as a temporary fix?
The problem is it's a matter of what kind of event are you doing. To rent an event, like I can try to, like for a course concert, right? You can ask like a DJ, for example, to do rented lights. And I bought a little DJ set from the drama club money just to play around with, to learn. The problem is, depending on how you're building the set or what show you're doing, for a course concert, it won't work. It's too small to do something. And depending on how all the plugs are being assembled, it could be a tripping hazard. It could happen, but you would almost have to see it in practice beforehand.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions?
Is there any way to use LED light bulbs in the lights that you have up there? Or is there a way to access that to see if you can?
That would be a question for Randy to see if he can access. The other thing is because how the lights mostly, I'm going to say mostly because again, you're talking a 30-year-old system, but usually it's, especially with the lighting board we have, it's a one-to-one correspondent, at least for programming. If it's as simple as just unscrewing the light bulb and putting an LED is, maybe, but judging, I'm going to assume based on the wires and the 5-foot box that we have that holds everything, I don't know if it can just be a simple conversion.
And I do
The
have
problem is-
additional information on this topic to share, pictures, and I have a letter from one of the people that gave quotes as well. So I do have more details.
Okay.
Can we see your slideshow, please?
Oh, yeah, that's so true. Yeah, by
Yeah,
absolutely,
can we pull that PowerPoint up again? And Matt, I can lead us through this, but please stay up there because you may have additional questions because some of what Matt just talked about wanted to show you what it looks like.
Sharing this to the-
Okay, so this is
So anybody who would be looking for the slides that are being talked about right now, you can find them on the school website. I just want to say that through a mic.
okay, so this is what I am told and what this letter says. This is a conventional dimming system that was manufactured by a company called EDI, a company that doesn't exist since 2011. There's no one to hire to service it, or there's no way to get parts for it. And it is a concern. And, it controls the lights. And it, like Matt said, it's 27,000 watts of energy. And so it really takes up a lot of energy. So this is the thing, Randy wanted me to emphasize, this really needs to be replaced. I believe this thing is getting hot. I think this is the thing that the fan is on to keep it cool. Yeah.
System that we do, and we just literally just get an old oscillating fan and we just have it blowing in the middle during a concert or during a drama club
So-
in the pitch black and
Yeah.
just pray to God that the light
So-
turns on. And on the top, actually, there's like a little panel of colors. It's a green, a yellow, and a red. I've only seen it turn green once. At the time I've worked here, it's always at yellow. And I just pray to God when it turns red, I'm
Yeah.
able to get notified of it. So I have to put like an extra fan because there's 2 of them now on the side.
And
to make sure that-
there's no just replacing this
Yeah.
with our current lights. It is like it all has to be done at the same time. So if we go to the next slide, this is the actual controller for the lights, which also needs to be replaced. And then this does not support the LED lighting fixtures that we need to really put in. And that's what's just going to save us some energy as well. So we need a new lighting control console and then all the lights. So if we can go, there's actually 3 rows of lights at the Wheeler stage. This is the front row and the lights are actually too far forward. So they need to be moved back a little bit. And then if you go to the next picture, you'll see the middle.
Is that the basketball? Like, are those out in the gym?
Yes, those are the ones. Sorry to cut you
Yeah, go
off,
ahead.
but yeah, if we go back to the other
Yeah,
slide,
go to the
so I can
back
show
one.
you. So where those little lights are, those are the ones that are dimmable. So for example, judging from the picture, if I were to turn off all the lights, the one that's like bright on like that 3rd arrow, that would be turned off. There's like 3 little like cones that would be turned on. Actually, it sounds silly, but this cone right here is what would have turned on. I believe there's 4 or 3 columns in our house lights that I use for the lighting operating system. As of right now, unless Troy, you might have checked it more with Randy, only 1 column turns on. The other 3 columns do not work. Cannot figure out why. I think it's just a whole other system, but there's only 1 row, which is why I've just kind of went of, no, it's all turn on, all turn off. I can't do anything with it. Again, I can't go up there to check.
But those aren't, but you're not talking about stage lighting. Are you talking about the actual gym lighting?
So there's 2 sets of lighting on that gym. So there's the overall one where you just turn all the lights on, turn all the lights off, and then there's a special set that would do house lights that can actually properly dim the lights that you use that lighting board for. So like for basketball games, for example, no, they're fine because those lights are on. It's the special other lights for dimming for concerts for a safety concern. Those I don't have access to anymore.
You also, you need lights coming from the gym onto the stage, because otherwise if everything's backlit, everybody's face is just black.
No, I understand the stage lighting. I'm asking if those lights are used regular during the day or at gaming events or whatever. That's what I was
No,
asking.
only for concerts. I don't think the gym touches them or uses them at all because they'll just have everything on with the default lighting anyway.
So the next slide, if we could just see, this is the middle row of lights on the stage. Also, they all need to be replaced.
Wait,
The
Troy,
LED.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. If you go back again, the lights that you were first talking about are being the front ones. Did you mean the black ones or did you mean the ones that were actually built on the stage? Because those each have problems.
I believe the black ones are the ones that need to be moved back closer to the stage.
The
Is that
black ones
correct?
are the
Or
ones that
move-
need to be back. For some reason, the wiring is mirrored on my screen for some reason. So whoever programmed it must have programmed them on the stage and did switch 1 is stage left, for example. Switch 2 is also stage left. However, though, when you're the one sitting on the switch on the operating, you're on the opposite side. So I have to make sure if I want the top right switch on, I have to make sure it's the left switch set. So there's a switch, which is fine. That's an easy fix of wiring. But out of the 12 lights that are up there, I only now have access to 8 of them. 4 of them don't work at all. One of them, for some reason, like a 2-for-1. One switch turns on, two light bulbs turn on. Those again, I don't have full brightness of. Even if I turn the whole system up to 100, there's not that much brightness. Could also be because they've moved back too close that all the lighting is not on it. It's more of the curtain and less of the actors on the stage, which is probably also at fault for that as well. But to go off of that, that's a whole other row of lights that are having a problem.
Yeah. And then if we could go to the next slide, and then that's the middle row of lights, and the last slide, well, not last slide, the next slide is the third row of lights. Go one back one. Yeah. So that's all a Wheeler then. And so that's the lights back to the back of the stage.
And you could see even on those lights, because I could tell from the other picture in the middle row had all the lights on from the red, green, white, purple. Every single color is on that stage. If you go back to the next slide in the back ones, I do not have access now to the red lights or the regular yellowish lights. All I have now are blue and green in that back ones now.
So you can see there's a lot of problems with the current lighting system at
Yeah.
Wheeler, and the whole system needs to be replaced, not
Correct.
just a part of it. It all has to be compatible and serviceable
Yeah.
and safe.
Yes.
And thank you to Randy for all these pictures, by the way. The elementary school is much less elaborate. It's way smaller. The needs are less because of that. But these are the stage lights. There is another light or two that they bring out. It's like a spotlight they put out for performances. But this, we believe, would be a lot less expensive. It'd be like $22,000 to upgrade this with the lights and a light controller console. But it's another expense. I want to mention that we do have this company that wrote this letter and basically saying it's 100 to 120,000 for Wheeler. And it mentioned all the things that Matt talked about the overheating and all of that and the safety. And so we have that. And people have mentioned, all right, is there grant possibilities or fundraising? And just to let you know, I am looking into a grant possibility that I think could potentially pay for half of the Wheeler project. So that's why when I'm thinking if that happens and you by chance happen to have a little bit in your non-lapsing together, maybe it could happen.
Wouldn't the stage lighting be a capital item?
I think that's a really good question. I don't know the answer to that. I think we can ask the town if they think it's a capital item. I think they're supposed to supply us with the building, the roof, the windows.
I understand that, but anything that's got, what was it, 5 years and over $10,000, whatever it was, this
It-
does fall under the definition of a capital
Oh,
item.
yes.
It would fall under a capital expense, but I don't know that it would be considered one. We could ask for it on a capital list.
Mhm.
And that would happen. It doesn't fall under like the town responsibilities for the school. Like it's not there's something wrong with it, so they
No.
have to fix it, but
No, but a capital, so like next year when they're putting together their capital list and we put in our suggestions, like much like we did with the tractor, we put in for the stage lighting.
I would suggest you use that as a
that
backup
tractor
plan
didn't go great though.
and try
so-
to get it done. If you can't get it done, maybe that's the backup plan.
I don't have any experience at the high school, but I definitely have experience at the elementary school working with the lighting and things there. I think that on the elementary school stage, it is functional at the moment. Like you showed those front lights. Somebody may have gotten up and attached more lights to booms that are also attached to programming, and those things might also, add to the lighting there. And again, it's not, is it fancy and have a light board and whatnot? No, there's a lot of, duct taped power cords in different places and stuff to make things attach, but the lighting process of it is functional. I think our focus needs to be at Wheeler.
Can you just summarize, if you were to get the lights, what would that mean for Wheeler and for the community?
So it would definitely be able to give us more opportunities to use it. When I was writing the grant for the Education Foundation for audio, one part that I mentioned is, and this is similar, so I'm not trying to derail. We have for example, one audio board that has like 12 mics, whatever. It's a big, giant thing that we have. That's all that we have. So for example, for the elementary school, we wheel it over across. For graduation, we wheel it onto the grass, this giant cart, and somehow make it movable, and we get it to work. Those, for example, those wireless microphones now are starting to deteriorate. You can hear that popping and really kind of crinkling sound. So the reason also why is those, for example, were overused, and we didn't have enough longevity of different events where you could buy smaller events and change things. Everything had to be pulled into this one thing. And now for those, it's being stretched thin. What's kind of happened with the stage lighting is because we haven't had as much maintenance on them. We just knew they worked for 3 times out of the year when we needed them. They were fine. They did their job. We walk away and fine. And that was great for the 30 years or so that they were on there. But now it's come to the point where we're slowly not being able to even use the bare minimum of them. I had to make drastic changes to, like we said, for a drama show. I did not feel safe using it on the stage last year. That's why I changed it. Other groups thought, it's worth the risk because we're only using it for a week and then we leave and we don't touch it again. So sometimes using it less is it smart because you're saving money and energy? Sure. But now you just almost diminish the program because now we're using less of it. Well, if we're using less of it, then why fund it? Well, if we're not going to fund it, then I'm going to use it less. And we're just in that terrible cycle. So having that, being able to grant it. Well, now, yes, we could have big assemblies for the elementary school to come to the gym on the stage and have something. You want to have bigger town meetings and stuff? Yes, come onto the stage, not just on the gym floor. You want to do special events. You want to now have the rec because they've been using so much of our stage just because as is. Sure, now we could offer that idea as well of having more stuff be utilized for. I'm not even asking for the lights to move. I just want them to turn on. Like I'm not even asking for anything special to be done with it. Can we just look into just trying to see what the upkeep of that be? But yes, giving that ability to grant that, and if the Foundation for Audio works, or I'll fundraise for that separately. The idea is that we could now have more stuff happening, because if we don't, we're just going to be in this really sad, disappointing cycle that stuff's not going to get done. So why bother fund it?
Thanks. That's
You're
great.
welcome.
And the concert's tomorrow, so we can all check it out in
yeah.
real time as well. I think this is my new playground. So I think we really, I really do want to make sure that this is something that is we're considering as we go forward.
And again, I know that this is not going to be we're going to say yes today and it's going to be done tomorrow. I know this is a very long process. I've been to these board meetings before, especially with budget season. Like I know what we have to do to be responsible as well. So I'm willing, obviously, and for the town to know that we are willing to, or at least I am willing to work with everybody to see what can be done. If we're making a little bit of progress, progress is progress. I know at this school, that's a lot. At least we're thinking about it and making slow progress and changes. That's all that we're asking for. Would I like to be bigger? Of course I would like to be, but I know the realistic of what we can do in this town for asking a lot of a lump sum like that too. So we're willing to also extend and just see what we can do in the meantime for these temporary suggestions, and knowing that it's temporary. I can jerry rig a system on the stage. It's like putting lipstick on a pig. It's still what it is. I can't make it better just because I have blue lights now instead of yellow. Like I have to kind of see what we need to do to better help everybody and for the students. But yeah,
Thanks, Matt.
of course.
We'll put it on the agenda again for the next meeting and talk kind of about what next steps are. Make sure this is a priority for the school as well. Because there's lots of needs. Obviously, we've talked about a lot of different things, whether it's a track or a this or a that. So one thing we would need to do is get a competitive bid process for that. So we might want to think about starting that at least as a starting point.
Mhm.
And the grant funding you're talking about, do you know when that's due or anything like that?
I believe I'll have more information in May on
Okay.
that.
Okay. So we can put it on our first meeting in May
Hmm.
to discuss it further.
Mhm.
Okay. Any other comments on that or suggestions on that? Let's see. Okay. That brings us up to policy 5113.
This policy, we had a healthy discussion last time about, and then I was able to talk about it with my administrative team, as I said I wanted to do. And we were just looking to upgrade the policy because it was old, and we looked at the current CABE one. And the issue being there was some wording in our current one that I thought the administrators would like to go forward in the next policy, and they're okay with it not going in there, but they want to have that as an administrative regulation that they use to work with students and families to encourage good attendance. And I believe they sent you some information related to that by email as well, kind of explaining all they do to work with students and families about attendance. So they're okay with that language not being in the policy. So they're okay with the new CABE recommended one. And again, the new one adds language about children of military families.
I would make a motion to approve the new policy 5113.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I like the idea if it's going to have days that it's in a regulation, because it means that it's changeable and adjustable based on circumstances, as opposed to being in a policy where it's too hard and fast in my mind. So
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed and abstain. Let's see, update on the superintendent search. Everybody has kind of a calendar. We're getting ready to post an opening, and we'll be sending out an email with our process to the faculty, to admins, to let them know where we are at in the process and what the next steps are. There will be focus groups. There will also be a survey. We do really hope everybody can participate in those focus groups. That input is really, really important to us for figuring out what our next steps are in that process. And I reached out to Wheeler Library. The media center is not available on the dates we were looking to meet. So I'm going to see if we can do that at the Wheeler Library instead. And they're checking those dates for me now. And I was also going to reach out to Mary again after the focus groups are completed to see if the board could also come back together and have a little further discussion. I felt like we didn't quite get everybody's opinions last night. It's hard over Zoom. And I'd like to see a little more robust discussion on that in person before we go ahead with that April 8th meeting. So, and the only thing we'll have to let Mary know too is that April 8th meeting is at 5:30. So make sure we find a time that works for her. It's right before the Board of Finance meeting. And we need to give her almost a half hour. So we have to kind of weigh that out. Okay. Anything else on the superintendent search that anybody wanted to add? Questions?
April 8th is at 5:30?
Yes, I believe so. April 8th and April 22nd. Okay. And do you have all the other dates from our meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
And there is just that April 8th one I had as a normal.
Yep, no, it's a 5:30 and the 22nd is as well. Oh, yeah, yeah. I know, I had to kind of look at the calendar too to make sure I had that right. And so we'll continue to update on that and have information on that. But the next step is to get it posted and then to really work with the community, the faculty, to get a feeling for what we're looking for. And then that brings us up to the tuition rate plan that Troy put in the packet.
Yeah, so I included 3 charts in your packet. The first chart is our current plan, which covers next year. So the rate is 13,446. So we're all set for next year. We've already shared this with the towns and all that. But then the following year, fiscal year 28 and beyond, I presented 2 options for you, option A and option B. And we talked last time about getting us closer to what the tuition is in other schools. So I gave you option A, which gets you right there quickly. It brings it up 12% in the first year, and the other years are 2.5%. And then the option B, it kind of splits the difference, brings you up 6% in the first year. So it's not as dramatic an increase, but then it does go up 4% each year after that. So ultimately, if you look at after 4 years, relatively close, the numbers become.
I got to say, when we were talking about this, when you sent these, I was thinking I want option A until I looked at them. And then I went, oh no, it's got to be option B.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing a lot of nodding heads. So I feel like that I wanted to make the bigger jump when I was thinking in my head, but seeing it written out, I feel like
Almost choked a little, huh?
I think that option, I mean, obviously option A is great for us, but I think option B is the appropriate step to take.
Can you tell me what those percentages are again?
Yeah. All right. So option B would be 6% in the first year and then 4% in the other years. So 6%, 4%, 4%, 4%.
And I guess I would reserve the right to consider, like, if we look in year 2 of this and NFA hasn't raised their tuition at all, or Griswold has kept theirs, static as well, or something like that. I think we should, keep in mind that we can always pull back a little bit if it feels like we're too aggressive on it. But I like option B.
Can you just tell us, Troy, where are we currently against schools like Griswold and NFA?
We're under Griswold by $1,300
So it's
for next year.
So we're at the bottom. We're
at the bottom by
cheapest.
$1,300 under Griswold, who's the next lowest.
Everybody else is at 15 grand already.
And these are all districts paying this. We don't have any private pay.
We would accept private pay, possibly. If someone in another town wanted to come here and they wanted to pay the tuition themselves, we would consider that.
So if they were to private pay, are they kind of set in the initial for the like say it was high school? Are they set in that one rate for 4 years, or they
No.
automatically know?
They
So we
go up
kind of
each
have
year.
to know what the increase is going to be.
Yeah, we don't, we wouldn't.
Yeah.
So first of all, we don't have to approve this tonight. We do have some time and I would like us to take some time to spend looking at it. I'd like to look at other districts and actually see this fall what other districts are projecting for the following year or however soon they get that out. And I'd kind of caution us on wiggling from it too much. I think it's nice for schools. I mean, we had this last one for 4 years and we didn't revisit it. We didn't change it. They all knew what was expected. So I thank you for doing the work on this. It's nice to see the numbers, but I personally, I'd like to wait a little bit before we approve it. And also, we don't have our full board here yet. I'd like to approve something like this when we have the full board here for voting. Any other discussion on it right now? Well, I know we have a quorum, but it's just to be not respectful, I guess. I mean, we're not in a rush to do it and.
As long as we maintain that respect throughout, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, if we have something, I think so. I don't think that hurts. And I mean, if it was something that had to be approved right now, but it doesn't. So I mean, if we're in a quorum situation, we need something approved, that's a little bit different, but I don't think it hurts to continue to have the discussion. Unless somebody wants to make a motion, then we can certainly do that as well. Okay. Let's see here. And the stipend budget.
I could just start out. There are 4 members of the board who are here tonight that were on the stipend committee, and the stipend committee has met twice and did a lot of work in between the 2 first meetings. We have updated job descriptions of all the advising club positions and the athletic director positions and the lead teacher. Really nice work, accurate, useful. Because as you know, a lot of the job descriptions are so outdated. We're looking at them, we're like, yeah, that's not really what happens anymore. And then we would be able to use that to reallocate monies from one to the other. In fact, the teachers union wanted to decrease some positions so that they could add a couple positions to increase functioning of like a $500 stipend for different things. So anyway, we had some good discussion on it. We had some spreadsheets we're referring to. Any other board members that were on the meeting want to give any updates on any of that?
I actually think the meeting was very productive. I'm actually pulling up your paper here, Troy. So there was a lot of work done. The descriptions hadn't been updated since 2017. All of the descriptions got updated. I think it was fair, the talks. Troy, can you give me, because I have to pull up your stipend.
What do you
It's
want?
154 higher than this, correct? The 256,004?
I don't,
164, that was 1,000.
no, the total difference that we're gonna go up is $1,106.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Over-
according to what's on the stipend budget, because he had accounted for the 956, correct?
Right. And I had included the 956 in the proposed budget already.
Yes.
So the difference is $150 more than
Thank
what
you.
I had included in the budget, but the total amount of increased dollars is 1,106.
106,
Yeah.
correct.
Right. But so that really we haven't moved those stipends in like at least 6 years. Right. And so.
Laura actually went back and we couldn't find, even in the previous contract, it's all been,
Stagnant.
yeah, there has not been any movements on the stipends.
Yeah, so, it's almost dollar for dollar in what we put in the budget, right? It's 500, it'd be $150 more than we
Than
had
what's
put in the budget
budgeted.
so far, which is really minuscule. It's like not even, it's like 1/100%.
Which is
I'm
actually,
sorry, 1,000%, something like that.
and
It's
if
like
you,
100.
it's actually lower than what we're forecasted for this current fiscal year.
But
If you look
that's
at the,
Because of
Where's
if
the budget?
I'm not mistaken, that's because other things are still in there that shouldn't have been in that line item to begin with.
It was at the sick
Right,
leave.
we had the
Okay.
5 days of
Buyout.
payout,
Yeah.
that shouldn't be in that line item, that should be getting moved to salary.
Oh, I can't even-
Has that been moved to salary?
In terms of the forecast, it will be in February.
Okay,
Thank
but
you.
as far as the budget for
This
next
one.
year,
Yes.
it's in,
Okay,
It's
okay,
in-
thank you.
correctly, all right, thanks. So what, we need what, an MOA for that?
We're gonna need an MOA for this, because we're adding, a few dollars to the cost of the contract outside of the contract.
Okay.
So I think to make it clean, to make it kind of in line with, appropriate collective bargaining, that we do put the MOA in effect for this $1,106, for the stipends.
Okay. All right,
Can I just get some clarification on these? What, the memory book advisor, is that what level is that? Middle school?
Middles.
I thought it was the 6th grade.
I think it's sixth grade.
That is the 6th grade.
I thought it was. the sixth
Okay.
grade.
Hold on here.
Um,
Oh, we have the jobs.
Yeah, we have the new descriptions. Hold on, let me pull them.
I thought that was the 8th grade.
eighth
Oh,
grade
is
makes
it?
sense
I
because
think
sixth
so.
grade parents are
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
So that's
I
why
know,
I'm,
it's not the
Seventh and eighth,
sixth
yeah,
grade.
Seventh and eighth.
Sorry, yeah, it's
Sorry,
middle
Great.
school.
that's terrific.
Yeah.
Okay,
And it is a lot of work.
it definitely is. What is new?
New, okay, yeah, there are 5 new,
I haven't,
you have them?
Mhm.
Okay.
yeah, they're in, hold on, I gotta pull up the other sheet. They are the 5 positions. Oh, hold on, because it's in yellow. Why? We have the elementary school choral director, we have the model UN advisor, we have a STEAM coordinator, middle school, high school, social communication coordinator, and graduation coordinator.
Okay,
So it's 5 positions at $500 each for that total
Got
of
it.
2,500.
all right, so there's 5 positions. Okay,
Yeah.
and then just the last one, studio is,
Well, I gotta pull that as well, because that was one of the ones I had a question about.
Studio sound.
okay, no, that's great.
Well, I should be talking now, but I want to go ahead. There's 2 different types of, there used to be 2 different types of studio. Back in the day, it used to be like a district-wide position where they were doing the audio, the sound, recording for a theater, helping with small stuff like that over time, and then running the morning announcements. Over time, I think it's because of previous people who had the stipend kept doing less and less work. Over time, that itself kept doing less and less of a payout, to the point where it was at one point like 1,000 or 1,200 for just doing the morning announcements, and no one else was ever doing any of the tech stuff. It wasn't until really I jumped in as doing the drama club. I went, oh shoot, no one else knows how to do this. I might as well do it, and that's been kind of going from there. The clarification on that.
No, that's great. I just wanted to know what they were. That's all.
And Troy, I think,
Oh.
oh, go ahead. I think it would be great if you shared this report that you gave to us with the rest of the board. Because even with them adding 5 new positions at $500 a piece, we're still only 1,100 more than what we were. They were very, very conservative. Some of them, they actually even reduced the price
Yes.
on the stipend, reduced the amount of the stipend, so that we could all work the 5 new ones in there.
And they understood that certain positions didn't exist anymore. So
Right.
those were lost due to attrition. So we had the money as a savings there as well.
There was the 2 that were cut.
Right.
Can I just have the lead teacher position at 10,000? Is that a singular stipend or is that multiple stipends?
That is for the
It's-
elementary school lead teacher.
Elementary school lead teacher. Okay. And the other
Yes.
one, the team mentors. That's plural. Is
That's-
that how?
That's different from what we're looking at right here. That's not part of this. So the team mentors don't fall under this stipend set schedule. That's all the stipend schedules. Those should be up toward, I believe, salary or something along those lines, because those were not part of the stipend salary schedule that we were
Right.
discussing here. So those bottom 4, data coordinator, substitute coordinator, and team mentors were not part of this discussion.
Right, and I just shared that spreadsheet with the board.
Thank you.
There was also the other ask of maybe building in a percentage increase over the next few years for the stipends.
In the next contract
Next
negotiation.
contract.
Yeah.
So just-
Yes.
making that part of the process.
negotiation.
Yeah.
Part of the next negotiation.
When,
This is
when
gonna be solid for 3 years.
This
yeah,
wouldn't
these-
move
these
for 3
totals are the-
years.
These are the amounts for 3 years. And then coming back, it's really the focus should be, if we're going to discuss financials for stipends, it needs to be in that financial package.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Does somebody want to propose an MOA?
Sure.
Okay.
I move to put together an MOA to approve the additional monies for $1,106 to add to the salary stipends.
I'll second. Okay, any other discussion on that? Okay, and we needed to have this wrapped up by the first part of April, is that correct? Okay. All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain? Thank you for doing the work on that. That was really nice of you to step in and
Yeah.
get that done so
It was
quickly.
very good work. Everybody did a great job.
Time of the night, the school calendar.
Oh, is it time for that already?
It is already the moment you've been waiting for.
Thank you to Brandon for updating it based on your vote last time, where we took this Friday, a couple of days from now, and made it a half student day and kept the half PD function. And then we also did the same thing in May 22nd. And then we kind of left it up in the air as to what happens at the end of the year, but knowing that we have 3 more days to make up. And then last time there was some discussion about 182 student days, which we have scheduled, but we only need 180. And then discussion about what do we then do with the teachers who are scheduled and paid for 187 days? And so I don't know. I just thought that maybe the board, given that it was like 70 degrees today, might want to lock in more of the plan for the end of the year. So whatever you want to talk about.
Did you happen to talk to your administrators about the attendance piece of things?
Yeah, they do not think it's a tiny little micro, it's a small fraction of a day. And of course they work with kids and families, and they're not going to make that be the deciding factor on a student.
Yeah, she sent an email out and I think it was like a 0.10 or something.
Yeah.
Okay. So when would the last day be for teachers if we added PD days on and went to 180
Wait,
days?
so
All right.
I apologize.
This is
So
the
the email was talking about how much it would affect the 18, but I think the question really was that Brian was saying that once it hit 180, 18 made it do it. But if it was 18, they said it was a 0.2 difference. I think they were thinking of the fact that it went from 18 to 18.2, but you don't have an 18.2 absence. So I think there may have been some misunderstanding with that 0.2 piece. What I was curious about was, and I think what Brian had brought up the last time was that idea, because it's a 0.2 difference in terms of the thing, but you're not going to get somebody.
0.2 days.
Yeah, if somebody has 19 absences, then that 18.2 comes into play. But if they have 18 absences, that 18.2 doesn't put them in the 10%. However, if it's 180 days, then they're in that 10% and they count as chronically absent. Thank you. I was missing the term for a second.
I'd have to look back. I know that the administrator sent you
They did.
Right, but
a
that
nice
email- that
narrative
email was
explaining
about
this,
that.
but you don't think it answered that question.
Well, I
That's what you're
think
saying.
they know what their chronic absent, like if they were concerned about 180 days and having some kids that were
Yeah,
chronically absent, wouldn't they have
They're not
raised
cons-
that problem to us?
Yeah,
and
they're
said
not
this is a
concerned about it.
problem? Okay.
they don't think it's an issue.
They don't.
I mean, we've done this in the past. I don't
Yeah.
think that part is ever.
No, and it just, but in the past, chronic absenteeism wasn't the hot button issue that it currently is with the state. So the reaction to it is more significant. But if they're not concerned, I didn't feel like that email answered
Okay.
that question in the way that I thought it was presented. I think there was just confusion in the way that it was asked.
Yeah.
and the way that they were thinking we were talking about it. But if the consensus is they're not concerned, then I'm all for 180 student days and not 182.
Okay.
So that would put the last day on graduation day of the 12th. Is that if I'm
It
reading
would
this-
actually put it on
There's
the
still
Monday.
one more
It's on the
day.
Monday. Okay, so
Yeah.
this calendar does not reflect that. Right.
So the calendar does not reflect what?
The last day of
The last
school.
day.
No, okay,
Okay.
it's not right now.
Okay.
And by the way, the high school has kids making up time like now, so it doesn't become an issue later also. So if anybody who could be close, they're having to make up the time
Hold
on
on.
an ongoing basis.
That's not how it works, Troy. If you're absent, you're absent. All you're talking about is the seat time
I'm talking about.
For grad-
I'm
for-
talking about
for-
credit.
for credit, yes, but for state reporting, it's a different, I'm talking about.
Oh,
state
yeah, yeah.
reporting.
Oh, state reporting. Yeah, I got you. Okay.
So,
All right. Yeah, I think that was the difference. You're talking about state reporting and we're answering about credit.
right.
Gotcha.
So when would the last day of
All right. So
school be for the teachers?
if you had the teachers work all of their contracted days, the last day would be June 17th.
So if we were concerned about 182 days, we could just have everybody go till June 17th. Would be the only other option.
You could have everybody go to June 17th and that would make up your 5 missed days
Okay.
total.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you went to 180 student days, their last day would be Monday, the 15th.
Majority make up one of the stays with the half.
Two of them.
So we have 5 days total to make up. We made up 2 of them.
And then we go to 180 and add that Monday. That's the 5.
Yeah.
Do we need to be concerned at all about the busing contract or no?
No, because they didn't run on those days.
Right.
Okay.
Can I throw something out? I've seen other districts add like 5 minutes on to every day. Does that complicate things?
Time
Yes.
Time doesn't matter.
Okay.
Days.
Okay.
It's actual days.
It's actual days. Okay.
Well,
Even if we made our half days, full
that would
days,
be
it
a
wouldn't make a
situation for
difference.
the student aspect of things in terms of not being able, like, but for the teachers, we could add on if they wanted to, but I mean, that would have to be a discussion that we would have on a higher level. Like we could say teachers stay for 15 extra minutes for the last, or for a certain number of days and then forgive one of their end of the year days. But I think that gets too complicated.
Yeah, that's
The accounting on that's brutal.
I mean,
I'll make
it's
a
one of
mo-
those, it's, okay.
Go ahead.
No, I guess we should make a motion before we're discussing anyway, so.
I make a motion to have the last day of school be June 15th with the teachers' last day of school being June 17th.
I'll second.
I was just gonna say, the only thing that comes into play is that are we concerned about the fact that we're basically losing the 15th for a whole set of kids, probably?
Oh, yeah. I know.
I know, but legally we can't.
But- No. And I'm
There's
just
nothing we
saying,
can
I
do.
don't think that matters. I just wanted to verbalize that. I mean, having the last day of school on a Monday is just kind of it is what it is.
Can we clarify when promotions are as well? If would they be what they are? I think the 6th grade was the 10th and I don't know when the 8th grade.
Oh, I believe the administrators will work with whatever groups are planning those events. And I think they will decide.
Okay.
I'm not going to decide when those events are.
Okay. I'm going to stress earlier rather than later because
Well, yeah.
parents need to take that day off.
Yeah,
So if
I-
it's changing.
I
I would also stress that some people have planned, things around those end days because they're supposed to, and keeping them the same would be great.
Yeah, I think the administrators could take that input and I think they've already thought about it. And I think they realize that people have made plans.
The 16th and 17th for the teachers, are those going to be full days or half days?
They're full PD days.
They're full PD days.
Mhm.
Full days.
Can we give them half days?
No. They're contracted. I have a hard time. It's not that I don't want to give them additional, but we're already
Right.
cutting down 2 teaching days.
Okay.
And contractually, I mean, we have to kind of stick to the contract. It's really important that we do that.
I guess I would argue that they needed some support during the cyber attack. Is that something that maybe if we gave them half days there, would it be something to consider?
Right. Any other discussion? I mean, you can vote no, I guess, if
I would just like to clarify, is that Monday still going to be a half day, the Monday previous?
Yes.
No,
not-
the 8th?
Oh.
6/8 or 6/15?
I don't have the calendar in front of me.
he's talking 6/8.
It's a half,
It would be the last 5 days of school are half days, correct?
right, for students.
Whatever
They're
whatever the
full days
last
for
5
staff.
days are.
Be a full day of school.
Yeah,
So
Monday,
6/8
the 8th would be a full day.
And everything else would shift to halves.
I just wanted to clarify, thank you.
Correct.
All right, any other
I
discussion?
would have an appetite for half days for the teachers in the last 2 days, but for the PD days. I have no difficulty with that. The contracted is for contracted days.
Right.
There's a
And-
variety of days where we give half days.
And
They're contracted for the day before Thanksgiving, but it's a half day. They're contracted for the day before winter break, but it's a half day.
And I want to piggyback off of that with what Chet and Jamie said. I understand sticking to the contract, and I'm really am a believer in that. This year has just been a year. I mean, everything that has happened this year has it's just been a roller coaster of one thing after another. And I don't know. I just think
I think those half days also
It's a
give
gesture.
those half days also give collegiality opportunities because you get the opportunity to say, hey, they all get to hang out and go out for lunch or, other things like
activities.
beverages afterwards to be able to enjoy the end of the year. And it's a little bit less stressful. You're not showing up. I mean, the last day of school staying until 3:00 is just brutal.
I would agree with that.
All right, I'll amend my motion to make the 15th the last day for students, June 8th a full day,
Mhm.
and June 16th and 17th half days for teachers.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Abstain? And oppose. I can't even think anymore. All right, perfect. All right. And we have a consent agenda for approval of minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from February 25th, 2026 as written.
Second.
All those, or any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed and abstained. And just a couple of quick things. Tomorrow is the safety meeting at 2:30. And we have a para contract meeting tomorrow too at 3:30. Is that what time we're meeting? 3:30?
Yeah, just with our lawyer.
Okay,
So,
all right,
yeah.
perfect. Yeah, he will be.
Of course. I'm very efficient.
All right. Any public comment?
Do we have comments for future agenda
Oh,
items?
future agenda items. I'm sorry. I was just
So,
looking at the.
so
calendar.
I just wanted to bring up, I had sent Troy an email about this and I probably would have tried to put it on the agenda tonight if we were on Wednesday with our regular meeting. The state put an emergency statute in place regarding the waivers for kindergarten
Mhm.
moving forward. And it's really important that we put that on our next agenda. And I just wanted to make the board aware so that you're considering it because we really have two options in play here. One is that we can write up or adopt the CABE policy that will allow us to do one more year of waivers with very specific timelines attached to them.
Mhm.
If we don't put that policy into play by there is a timeline. I don't recall it right. It is a relatively quick timeline that we have to turn this around on. If we don't get that into play, we can accept no waivers, hard stop regarding kindergarten. If you are not 5 by September 1st, you do not get in. And so we really need to address that and we need to consider it as a board. So just keep it in mind. What do you think? What would you like?
And what would
no
the
matter-
teachers like? I'd like to know their opinion on that.
I think honestly, I could get some more opinion on that, but, I know some opinion is that just to go cold turkey and just do it because the next year.
The next year, it's a hard stop no matter what.
Yeah,
So it's
and
one
we've
of
had
those,
2 years of waivers
Mhm.
and maybe it's time to just,
And we
That's
prepared
it.
everybody for it and everything else.
Yeah.
There is information on the KIB website if you want to read a little bit more about it.
I do think we want to get it out immediately though, because kindergarten registration is now.
yeah. So if the board doesn't act, we can't accept waivers. We cannot accept them.
Correct.
So the board would have to act and adopt this policy to accept waivers for just this 1 year coming up.
All right, so we'll put that on the agenda for the next meeting. Okay. Thank you. Any other agenda items? We'll keep the stage lighting and everything on and keep that conversation going, the ball rolling with that too. I'm looking at you because you said it's your new playground, so. All right.
I would like to point out that Jamie didn't mention the wood chips once in this budget discussion.
Did you notice they're not in the budget? No, I'm just kidding.
Trusting that they are accounted for with my tape measure. I'll go out there.
All right. Any other public comment? All right. And thank you for your time tonight, Matt. All right. Appreciate it. All right. And can we get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Abstain. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.